see dead people. Psst, I see dead people.
We welcome you to Shirley Povich Field here at Cabin John Regional Park. The rain has gone away. It will come again another day, but for now, we've got baseball to play. It's game one of the LCS Finals between the Cinderella Senators of Southern Maryland and the big bad Bethesda Big Train. Hi, everyone. I'm Quentin Corpuel, joined alongside Phoebe Winters for what is set to be a final that I'm not sure either of us expected to happen in the middle of the season. The Big Train entering this contest as the number 3 seed. The Southern Maryland Senators entering as the 4 seed, upsetting the top-seeded Alexandria Aces in the LCS semifinals. The Big Train discarding the Giants in 2 dominant games. This will mark the first time in league history, so since 2005, that neither of the league's top 2 teams will play in the LCS final. But Phoebe, although the final is unexpected, these are the 2 hottest teams in the league. I'm going to start with the Big Train. What have you liked about their recent stretch of games? They entered tonight winning 12 of their last 14.
Well, I'm going to start with the pitching. The starting pitchers have all gone at least 5 innings. So they've been very consistent and very strong. I'd say of the starting pitchers we've seen in the playoffs so far, they've had maybe 1 blemish each, allowed 1 run, and that was it. Then they'd hold them scoreless until the middle of the game. And then the offense. The offense has just been exploding from the plate. It's been very consistent and very strong throughout the entire game. We didn't see, which we've seen so often throughout the season with the Big Train, putting up a couple of runs to start off the game and then going cold until the very end. No, we saw consistency throughout the entire game, putting up a lot of insurance in the middle innings, and that's what brought them so much success in the playoffs so far.
And so the Southern Maryland Senators, not as hot as the Big Train, but they do enter tonight on a roll. Winners of 5 of their last 6, again discarding the Alexandria Aces in 2 games, picking up a dominant 9-0 victory in Waldorf to clinch their first ever championship series berth, also just their 2nd year of existence. Phoebe, I'm going to ask you, the Senators entered the playoffs at 16-20. Mm-hmm. They were able to get home field in the play-in game against the Crop Dusters because they finished 2nd place in the South Division. They have one of the best bats in the league in Carter Groen, played an awesome freshman season at Iona before transferring to UConn, tied with Andrew Williamson for 10 homers on the season, both regular season and postseason. What challenges do they present to the Big Train?
I think number 1 is the mentality and the culture that you see in that bullpen and that dugout. They're coming in as the underdogs, which they started off the playoffs playing the number 1 seed. That's a huge underdog undertaking to take on, and they dominated. To shut out the number 1 seed in the 2nd game of the semifinals to secure your ballot into the finals, that's huge. They're definitely going to be riding that high, riding that momentum. They've seen what they can do, and they're going to be very strong offensively. They have the big bat of Carter Groen, and their defense has been strong throughout this playoff run.
So the Big Train and the Senators going to kick off in a few moments. The Big Train looking to capture title number 11, would be their 7th in the last 8 seasons, the only one spoiling the streak. The Alexandria Aces back in 2022. The Senators, again, looking for their first title in just their second year of existence. It should be a fun one here from Shirley Povich Field again today and tomorrow, as well as a potential Game 3 will all be played here at Shirley Povich Field. So buckle up. Should be a fun ride. We'll be back in a few moments for first pitch here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. First pitch set to go in a few moments. It's going to be Jake Titus from the University of Kentucky on the bump today for the Big Train, facing Mark Loubier on the other side from Florida Atlantic. Now, Loubier has been a workhorse for the Senators this season, even going as many as 7 innings in a game, a rarity in the Ripken League. Titus has been able to last a few innings, looking to pick up where his peers have left off from the past 3 games. Joey Wimpelberg dominating in the play-in game. Evan Smith working efficiently in Game 1 against the Giants. And then last night, we saw Sam Mitchell shut the door, pitching another 5 spectacular innings to pace the Big Train on the mound. Titus looking to do the same here against the Senators offense that hasn't necessarily been one of the best in the league, but come postseason, it's not the best teams that win. It is the teams that play the best win. The Senators have been playing incredible baseball as of late, and their lineup from top to bottom has been producing at a high level. Leading off for them, it's going to be the center fielder out of Wofford, Logan Tribble.
As you said, the Senators hitters have been lighting up the scoreboard as of late. They've come up big, and they have one of their biggest bats batting third in number 23, Carter Groen.
The first offering of the finals is going to be low and outside for a ball. So many years we've seen the league's top 3 teams make the finals, as that one's lined past a diving Gonzalez for a base hit. Logan Tribble getting things started on a high note for the Senators on just the second pitch of the game, reaches base. And so that'll bring up the left fielder Nathan Brewer out of Middle Tennessee State. Also grew up in Murfreesboro. So he has been around the blue and silver his entire life, as the first pitch from Titus is outside for a ball. Now, these two teams have faced off 5 times, not including the exhibition, which the Big Train won 10-9. Carter Newman hitting a walk-off single in that one to give the Big Train the victory. Now, Bethesda won the season series 3-2. But the Senators took the last meeting in Waldorf by a score of 8-3. As the 2-0 to Brewer swung on and missed for a strike.
Now, as you said, Quentin, it's not necessarily the 2 best teams in the league competing in the finals, but it's the teams that have been playing the best during the playoff run. And so the Big Train defense really needs to be on top of things. Those little errors can cost big time, especially with the pressure being on so high in the finals.
So the count now 3-1 on Brewer. Led the Senators in hits. Was the only one to reach 40, has recorded at least 1 hit in each of these teams' 5 meetings. as the count moves full with Carter Groen waiting on deck. The first time these two teams met in the regular season back on June 7th, Nathan Brewer was blue hot, going 4 or 5 from the plate, but he goes down swinging there.
Definitely a huge K for Jake Titus. You want to start off on a strong foot as the pitcher and disrupt the momentum of the Senators lineup. We saw them shut out the Aces in Game 2 of the semifinals. They're definitely riding a high, so to create that disruption in their offensive momentum is huge for the Big Train defense.
So that'll bring up Groen. Leads the team in batting average and home runs. Tied for the league lead with Andrew Williamson, playoffs and postseason with 10. Has recorded a hit in 17 of his last 19 games. Batted just shy of 350 in the regular season as there's a line shot right to Gonzalez. It's an inning-ending double play. Right place, right time for the Florida Atlantic Owl. And the newest Yukon Husky is muzzled early on. The Senators started off so strong, but they'll be held scoreless in the top of the first. The Big Train will bat for the first time this evening when we come back on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Shirley Povich Field here at Cabin John Regional Park. The Senators held scoreless in the top of the first. No runs, one hit. One got caught on an inning-ending double play. That was the leadoff hitter, Logan Tribble, getting caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. A line out from Carter Groen right to Emilio Gonzalez. Made it one of the easier double plays Gonzalez will probably ever turn in his baseball career. And so the Big Train will bat for the first time tonight. On the mound for the Senators, it's going to be Mark Loubier, who's been the iron horse for the Senators this summer. Has gone exactly 34 innings entering tonight, sporting a 5.29 ERA. He'll face the designated hitter Keenan Bowman to lead things off. This will be his second appearance against the Big Train. Made his first about a month ago, a little less, back on June 27th. Allowed 4 hits and 2 earned. The Big Train doubling up the Senators in that one by a score of 14-7. The Senators hoping he can not only go at least 5 innings, which he's done 4 times this season, but hopefully quell what has been a white-hot Big Train offense as of late.
Now the Big Train starting off strong with Keenan Bowman as the designated hitter. Throughout the season, we've seen him over at shortstop, but then last night we saw him take on the position of designated hitter, which isn't the first time he's done that, but he does so well in that role because he is so strong offensively. And then you still get to see Landon Franklin out at shortstop. 2 very good infielders.
Bowman checking his swing. The call is that he did go around. Your umpires for tonight: at home plate, Tom Rousseau; at first base, Andy Simons; and at third, Greg Hewitt. Count 0-1 on Bowman. The second offering from Loubier, and off speed in there for strike 2. Keenan Bowman looking to find a rhythm here in the LCS finals. Looking to set the tone early on. Count now 1-2.
Now Bowman reached base twice during his 5 at-bats last night and actually recorded his 4th time being hit by a pitch in the past 3 games he's played.
As that one's grounded foul down the third base line.
Been a bit of a ball magnet as of late, but he'll take his base any way he can to continue to push this Big Train offense forward.
A Big Train offense that scored 53 runs over its last 4 games. Lubier sets. Here comes another 1-2. That one lined up the middle. A great start for the Big Train. Keenan Bowman, a leadoff single. That'll bring up Andrew Williamson.
A very strong start for the Big Train offense. That's the kind of start you want, getting on base early on. Williamson now hoping to follow that up with another base. Big Train hoping to score first, draw that first blood to get the momentum rolling.
The Big Train have seen its lineup shuffle around so much throughout the season, but it feels like ever since Williamson arrived on June 10th, the lone piece of consistency has been the second spot and the area in center field as he'll look at the first pitch for a strike.
Williamson has been a machine from the plate, whether it's big home run hits or knocking in a double, which he seems to do almost every time he steps to the plate in a starting lineup position.
He's recorded a couple of hits over his last 2 games, as he'll foul that one off for strike 2. Has recorded a hit in 11 of his last 12. As he'll look at that one upstairs for a ball. So it'll be Williamson followed by the crimson hot bat of Luke Vaughn. Emilio Gonzalez next up, followed by Davin Whitaker, Matt Westley, Chris Diaz, Jordan Crosland, and Landon Franklin. 2 notable omissions from the lineup, Justin Nadeau and Jaden Bastian.
Jaden Bastian, a current Jacksonville Dolphin. Nadeau, a former Jacksonville Dolphin. Nadeau was explosive from the plate last night. Drew a couple of walks and laid down an excellent bunt to push runners forward. Bastian has also been having a heck of a night from the plate as of late. Recorded a leadoff double during his first at-bat last night. But both Bastian and Nadeau getting a much-needed day of rest.
Another 1-2 to Williamson. This one outside. That'll even up the count. Waiting on deck is Vaughn. Has had a really nice postseason up to this point. Recorded 6 hits in his first 10 at-bats. Runner takes off. Williamson floats one into shallow left center. That'll drop for a base hit. So the aggressive base running pays off for Bowman. He'll make his way over to third. Runners now on the corners for Luke Vaughn.
As you said, Vaughn's been having an excellent playoff run, not only from the plate but from behind it. He has been such a strong addition to the Big Train defense. He's so tall and flexible that he can block such a huge part of that backstop. And of course, if a runner makes it a jump towards second,
as he will take his base on the first pitch. That's the second time he's been hit in the playoffs. That'll load up the bases for the cleanup hitter, Emilio Gonzalez, as we're going to have a battle of owls here.
As you mentioned, when we came into the bottom of the first, Gonzalez's inning-ending double play over at first base. He's one of the players that we've seen from the very beginning of the summer, and he's grown so much into his role, not only from the plate, but also in the infield.
So we're going to see the corner infielders, Ian Kennedy at first, Mikey Guy at third, play a little in, anticipating a ground ball as the first pitch is outside. Now Gonzalez has actually struggled a bit to start the postseason, just 3 for his first 13, although he has recorded 4 RBIs. That mark is tied for third in the postseason along with Jordan Crosland, who we saw homer in Game 1 of the LCS semifinals back in Gaithersburg. As we're going to have a quick mound visit between Loubier and catcher Nate McHugh. Started this summer as a Boston College Eagle, recently transferred to Creighton. So a simple switch in bird species there for Nate McHugh, taking his talents from the ACC to the Big East.
Now, as you said, Gonzalez hasn't been getting a lot of hits off. However, he's been putting up a lot of sacrifice flies and other productive at-bats to push runners forward. So while he himself might not be reaching base, he's doing his job as a big train offender, pushing runners across the base path.
Here comes the 2-0. A big swing and a miss for strike one. Now we're on the verge of a similar story to what we saw last night. The Giants starting out hot with a couple of hits, but then the big train responding emphatically. The good news for Bethesda this time around, the Senators weren't able to score in the top of the first, as the count will move to 2-2 on Gonzalez, with the right fielder Davin Whitaker waiting on deck. Loubier digs in. The 2-2 pitch swung on and missed for strike three. A big K there for Loubier. That'll bring up Whitaker with one out, and the base is still loaded. Bowman on third, Williamson on second, Vaughn on first. Davin Whitaker having himself a nice last couple of games. Recorded 2 hits in both Game 1 and Game 2. Representing the East Carolina Pirates, looking to drive in his teammate from third and possibly more. First pitch is popped way up into the air, and out of play it goes. That one nearly hitting a couple of big train interns. Assistant GM Patrick Chapman to make sure everybody's okay, and it appears so.
Now, Davin Whitaker is another one of those players that we've seen since the start of the summer. And what I like is that he's stayed consistently aggressive from the plate.
As the 0-1 is low and outside for a ball.
But I think one major change we've seen towards the end of the season and into the playoffs is how aggressive and gutsy he's gotten around the base path with his base running. We've seen him take some risky moves that have paid off big time over in Silver Spring. Made the charge from third to home, ended up scoring the winning run.
That one popped near the border of the stratosphere. Under it is Mikey Guy, who's got it for out number 2. So that'll bring up the third baseman, Matt Westley. The big train on the verge of squandering an early golden opportunity. This is an issue we saw earlier in the season, them not being able to capitalize with runners in scoring position. Now, it was remedied a good bit towards the end of the season, and especially over these past 14 games, as the first pitch to Westley paints the inside corner for a strike. Here comes the 0-1. Off speed, just misses. That'll even up the count at 1. Now, Westley is another player who's struggled over a portion of the summer, batted just .205 in the regular season. But all it takes is sometimes even just one swing of the bat to change one's perception as the 1-1 is fouled off. Westley now on the ropes. Loubier on the brink of getting out of a major early jam.
Now we saw Max Martzoff in a similar position last night. Had the bases loaded up behind him, but we saw him move through that jam very easily and continue to hold the Giants scoreless in the top of the 6th inning.
The 1-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Mark Lubier gets his wings back, leaves the bases loaded. We are still scoreless after 1. We'll be back for the top of the 2nd here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Shirley Povich Field at Cabin John Regional Park. We are still scoreless after 1. Both teams threatening early on the base paths, but to no avail. As we're set to start the top of the 2nd shortly, Jake Titus still on the mound. It's going to be 4, 5, 6 due up for the Senators. The first baseman, Ian Kennedy, leading things off. Enters tonight, riding a similar wave that his team has ridden over these past few games. Has recorded a hit in 4 of his last 5, including 3 a few days ago in the clinching semifinal game against the Aces.
On the bottom of the first, Big Train had a huge opportunity to strike first and take the lead. Unfortunately, we're unable to capitalize on the loaded bases, so now looking to continue to hold the Senators' offense at bay.
First pitch from Titus, an off speed in there for a strike. Kennedy also hit a home run in Southern Maryland's dominant 14-4 play-in game victory over the Crop Dusters. As the 0-1 is swung on and missed for strike 2, that one actually being fouled off of Kennedy's bat into the glove of Vaughn. Kennedy in the regular season, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs, batting just north of 300. But he'll go down swinging for strike 3. Titus retiring Kennedy on 3 pitches. That'll bring up the catcher, Nate McHugh. Again, recently transferred to Creighton from Boston College.
So Kennedy goes down swinging. That records the 2nd strikeout of the night for pitcher Jake Titus, off to a very strong and efficient start.
McHugh, a native of Franktown, Colorado. Made the 2nd most at-bats for the Senators in the regular season, only behind Nathan Brewer. Count now 2-0 on McHugh. The only one besides McHugh and Brewer to record at least 100 at-bats was Mikey Guy, who made the 2nd out of the last half inning, starting at 3rd base tonight, as that one's in there for strike 1. The 2-1 pitch. That one low for ball 3. Waiting on deck is, right on cue, Mikey Guy. The 3-1. That one hit in the right field, and that will drop foul in the gravel down the right field line. Now defensively for the Big Train, Titus on the mound, Vaughn at catcher, Wesley at third, Franklin at short, Crosland at second, Gonzalez at first, Diaz in left, Williamson in center, and Whitaker in right. Full count offering is hit high into the air. Vaughn will watch that one fall out of play. Oh my goodness, I thought the Catalyst cart was in trouble there for a second, but thankfully was not hurt by that foul ball. The count will remain 3-2 on McHugh.
Now that hustle from Vaughn from behind the plate just shows what a great defensive addition he's been to the Big Train. Came later in the season.
That one swung on and missed for strike 3. So less efficiency, but a similar result, actually the exact same result. Jake Titus, his second strikeout of the inning. That'll bring up Guy with 2 outs and no one on. First offering to Guy in there for a strike. Now Jake Titus looking to carry over the positive vibes from his last outing against the Crop Dusters on July 16th. Allowed just 1 earned in 4 2/3 innings pitched, ended up picking up the win. Had been roughed up in his previous 4 outings. Count now 2-1 on Mikey Guy. Had a couple of home runs in the regular season to go along with 19 RBIs, playing his college ball at Frostburg State. As that one's grounded foul, that'll even up the count with 2 outs here in the top of the second. Here comes the 2-2. That one up and in. If you listen closely, you could hear some chin music down there on the field. That'll bring the count full. Waiting on deck is the designated hitter, Owen DeShazo. But he'll have to wait till the next inning to hit as Jake Titus strikes out the side. Still scoreless here in Game 1 of the LCS Finals. We'll be back shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Still scoreless as we head into the bottom of the second. Lubier still on the mound for the Senators. He'll face the bottom of the Big Train lineup with the left fielder Chris Diaz leading things off momentarily. Again, both of these teams coming into tonight hot. The Big Train winners of 12 of their last 14. The Senators have taken 5 of their last 6. Now, it's been an up and down week for both current and former Senators, but the current Senators representing Southern Maryland making a Cinderella run through these playoffs. We're able to knock off the Crop Dusters in the play-in. The Crop Dusters sporting a better regular season record than the Senators. Then we're able to slay the Giants, a.k.a. the Alexandria Aces, in 2 games. The Big Train also winning their play-in game in dominant fashion, a 16-4 Mercy Rule victory over the Metro SoCo Braves. Followed it up with 2 wins over the second-seeded Gaithersburg Giants.
They actually danced around the Mercy Rule during both games in the semifinals with the Giants.
So the count now 3-0 on the newest Marist Red Fox. Jordan Crosland waiting on deck. Diaz taking his talents from the American Athletic Conference to the MAAC. Count moves 3-1 on the prankster that is Chris Diaz, has shown bunt so many times then pulled back. As the 3-1 is fouled off. So Lubier battling back, bringing this count full. Again, Jordan Crosland waiting on deck. Went yard off of Keegan Johnson in game 1 of the LCS semifinals over at Criswell Automotive Field. As the 3-2 is swung on and missed for strike 3. So a great job of Lubier to battle back in the count. That'll bring up Jordan Crosland with 1 out and no one on here in the bottom of the second.
So the Big Train still looking to get the offense rolling. The 1-2-3 hitters were all able to reach base, but unfortunately, Big Train offense unable to capitalize on the loaded bases situation.
First pitch up and in for a ball.
Although throughout the semifinals run, we did watch the Big Train put up a lot of excellent 2-out hitting.
As the count moves 2-0 on Crosland, that's something we also saw the Big Train experience during the early part of the season. A lot of damage from the opposition would be done with 2 outs. As the count moves to 3-0 on Crosland with Landon Franklin waiting on deck. Crosland was the Big Train's Iron Man throughout the regular season, leading the team in at-bats with 117. As the 3-0 sneaks in there for strike 1. Let's see if Lubier can battle back again. The Senators hoping he can last well into the middle innings. As Crosland will take ball 4 there. A lot of speed entering the base paths now as Franklin steps up to the plate.
Crosland has definitely been one of the most dangerous threats to have on the base path. Him along with Andrew Williamson. Both very speedy and not afraid to take a base or 2.
Jaden Bastion leading the team in stolen bases during the regular season with 13. Crosland finished second with 11. Williamson not too far behind with 8. There goes that man again. The throw from McHugh down to second. Not in time. The Maryland Terrapin fearless once again on the base paths. Crosland moving himself into scoring position. The count 0-1 on Franklin. Now, although he's resided at the bottom of the Big Train lineup lately, he's been at the top in terms of production. As the count moves even at 1. Had a couple of hits in game 1 of the LCS semis.
His last at-bat last night recorded a double. So has been very productive throughout the entire game.
The 1-1 to Franklin. That one hit in the right. Under it is Carter Groh, and he's got it for out number 2. Crosland will stay at second. So a productive out there for the Senators. That'll kick it back to the top of the lineup with Keenan Bowman stepping up to the plate. Bowman hit a leadoff single in his last at-bat, emulating the efforts of Logan Tribble on the other side.
Bowman looking for some similar success from the plate here now to hopefully score the first run of the game. push Crosland off of second.
Let's see if the Big Train can capitalize this time with a runner in scoring position. Or will they leave the bases stranded once again? Crosland takes off again. The throw down to third. Not in time. Crosland now swiping his second bag of the evening. The potential first run of the ball game now just a base away.
Sorry, we've got a special guest in the booth here with us tonight. She just motioned the word swipe or no swiping.
Well, the swiper is swiping. Dora and Boots aren't doing a great job of protecting the bridge if you're picking up what I'm putting down. The count now 2-1 on Bowman. There was a third person, the troll.
The troll, yeah. There's a lot of characters in Dora.
The 2-1 to Bowman. That one jammed him, and that falls right into the glove of Loubier for out number 3. So no runs, no hits, one left on base for the Big Train. We're still scoreless after 2. We'll be back for the top of the third shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Shirley Povich Field here at Cabin John Regional Park. Jake Titus still on the mound for the Big Train as we're set to start the top of the third here in Game 1 of the LCS Finals. The leadoff hitter for the Senators, it's going to be the designated hitter Owen DeShazo, who will swing and miss big. Actually will foul it off into the glove of Vaughn for strike 1. Now DeShazo also representing Boston College. Doesn't appear to have any intentions of transferring. So the Eagles not letting their 2 players on the Southern Maryland Senators both go over the summer. As the 1-1 is fouled off down the right field line. That one bouncing off the concrete in the parking lot. Here comes the 1-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Jake Titus setting him down with the slider here early on. His 4th strikeout already. That'll bring up Silas Boris, the shortstop tonight for the Senators.
It's actually his 5th strikeout of the evening, but his 4th in a row.
Already losing count up here in the press box, and by us I mean only myself. That one's ripped under the glove of Wesley and into left. So Silas Boris, a first pitch single. That'll bring up the 9-hitter, the second baseman, Mike Sweeney.
Sophomore at Hofstra University, number 5, Mike Sweeney.
So let's see if the Big Train can turn their second double play of the evening. Already had one in unconventional style as the first pitch to Sweeney is inside for a ball. That one getting the Big Train out of the top of the first. A line shot from Groen. Landed right in the glove of Gonzalez, who tapped first to double up Logan Tribble. Now Boris on first, representing Georgia Southern. Mike Sweeney, a New Yorker through and through, hailing from Belrose, playing his college ball at Hofstra. Count now 2-1. That one grounded to Wesley at third. Could we have a double play? On to second for one. On to first, not in time. So a good connection from Wesley to Crosland to get the runner at second to record out number 2. That'll bring up the leadoff hitter, Tribble. Had a single in his first at-bat. Tribble in the regular season batted .225. Hit 1 home run to go along with 7 RBIs. First offering is low and outside for a ball. So again, game 1 here tonight at Shirley Povich Field. Game 2 tomorrow will also be here at Shirley Povich Field.
Southern Maryland Senators played their regular season.
As Vaughn almost guns down another. A little Artemi Panarin kick out of potential frustration. I think he thought he had out number 3.
Again, Vaughn has such a powerful arm. We've seen him gun down so many players over at second throughout the regular season and the playoffs. As I was saying, the Southern Maryland Senators played their regular season games at Regency Furniture Stadium in Waldorf, home to the Blue Crabs, who need their stadium back, so Southern Maryland Senators unable to host a playoff game.
As the count moves to 3-0. Now that is unfortunate. Regency Furniture Stadium, obviously up to professional standards. As that'll be ball 4. Logan Tribble will take his base. Bringing up the left fielder, Nathan Brewer. Regency Furniture Stadium, also aptly named, as there are a lot of chairs there.
So the Senators now threatening once again, have 2 runners on the base path. With 2 outs on the board, Titus looking to corral this half inning and hold them scoreless once again.
First offering to Nathan Brewer inside for a ball. Titus would probably like to get out of the inning now, especially with the heart of the Senators' order due up. Carter Groen waiting on deck. As a big swing and a miss moves the count to 1-1. Nathan Brewer has recorded a hit in every single meeting between the Senators and the Big Train. There were 5 of them in the regular season. The Big Train taking the season series 3-2. Here comes the 2-1. That one outside for ball 3. Again, waiting on deck is the Missouri City Masher. The Colossus of Connecticut, Carter Groen, but Jake Titus now 1 strike away from delaying Groen's next at-bat to at least the next inning. A humongous pitch here for Jake Titus. The 3-2 pitch. Got him swinging, strike three. The Wildcat prowling early. The Senators leave multiple runners on base. Both offenses threatening early. No one has crossed the plate, however. We move into the bottom of the third. Still scoreless here from Shirley Povich Field. We'll be back here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Still scoreless here at Shirley Povich Field. It'll be 2-3-4 due up for the Big Train. Looking to strike first here in Game 1 of the LCS Final. First offering from Loubier in there for strike one. Now all the way back on June 27th, Williamson hit a home run against the Senators in that 14-7 domination. That one popped up out of play down the left field line into the Big Train bullpen. The count quickly 0-2 on Williamson.
Again, we've seen the Big Train get runners on base in the first and second innings, but unable to capitalize and bring them home. Looking to take the lead early on.
As the 0-2 is popped up into fair territory this time. And under it is Nathan Brewer for out number one. So Williamson is retired for out number one. That'll bring up Vaughn.
Vaughn was hit by the pitch during his first at-bat to load the bases. Again, Big Train unable to capitalize on the loaded bases. But Vaughn looking to take base once again.
First offering to Vaughn is an off-speed in there for strike one. So the Big Train entering the Ripken League playoffs as the 3 seed, the Senators as the 4 seed. That one's grounded to Boris at short. Fires it over to Kennedy for out number 2. So a quick 2 outs here for Loubier. That'll bring up fellow Florida Atlantic Owl Emilio Gonzalez. Now we don't see too many matchups of 3 versus 4 in sports, especially in college basketball. Over on the men's side, 3 and 4 seeds have met only 8 times since 1985. That series is tied at 4 with the most recent matchup coming last year. Eventual national champion UConn down in Gonzaga. But I guess the Big Train don't really want to hear anything about college basketball as Gonzalez grounds out to end the inning. So we're through 3 here in Game 1 of the LCS Finals. Still scoreless. Definitely not the norm we've seen from either of these teams. Let's see if either the Senators or the Big Train can get on the board in the 4th when we come back here on Big Train Baseball Network.
The right fielder, number 23, Carter Grow.
Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Still scoreless through 3. Jake Titus still on the bump for the Big Train. He'll face the heart of the order for the Senators. Carter Groen leading things off. As the first offering just a bit outside for ball 1. And speaking of the heart, we have the heart of the broadcast booth with us, and Max Martzoff, who will join us in a brief moment as the count goes to 2-0 on Carter Groen. Groen looking for his first hit of the evening. The count now 3-0 on the newest Connecticut Husky. Waiting on deck is the Michigan Wolverine, Ian Kennedy. The 3-0 from Titus. That one inside for ball 4. So the leadoff hitter aboard once again for the Senators. That'll bring up Ian Kennedy. Again, has had himself a mighty fine postseason. Had a round tripper in the play-in game against the Crop Dusters, as we're going to have our first mound visit of the evening featuring pitching coach Craig Lopez along with catcher Luke Vaughn. Jake Titus again hoping to carry the same torch that the previous 3 starting pitchers did for the Big Train. It was Joey Wimpelberger in the play-in against the Braves. In game 1 against the Giants, it was Evan Smith, and in game 2, it was Sam Mitchell, all working well into the middle innings. And with the Big Train offense playing as well as they did, it produced a sleep number soft cushion. So the mound visit has concluded. Let's see how aggressive Groen is on first, as the first pitch to Kennedy is an off-speed outside for a ball. That's a pitch we saw Kennedy swing and miss at a couple of times in his last at-bat. That's actually generated a few swings and misses for Titus so far. As I'll go back to the same pitch, but a same result. The count now 2-0. From Titus is fouled off. Another parking lot ball as the count moves to 2-1 on Kennedy. Now, as I was saying in the last half inning, we don't often see 3 versus 4 matchups in men's college basketball. It's only happened 8 times. The series tied at 4. The last time that matchup happened was in 2023 when the eventual national champion UConn Huskies dominated 3rd seed in Gonzaga. And over on the women's side, the 3 seed has taken 6 of the 10 matchups, as Kennedy will take his base, bringing up the catcher Nate McHugh. Over on the women's side, the last matchup was in 2021 with 3rd seeded Arizona knocking off the 4th seed Indiana. The first matchup was actually in the national title game, 1994. North Carolina knocking off Louisiana Tech by 1. First offering to McHugh, inside for a ball. Also have a few college basketball blue bloods currently on the base paths. We've got UConn at 2nd, Michigan at 1st, maybe not as recently, and Creighton at the dish. The 1-0 to McHugh in there for a strike. We once again see some early trouble. Both Titus and Loubier have been faced with dire circumstances, but have been able to get out of it every single time up until this point.
Now, you mentioned during the bottom of the 3rd that this isn't a situation we've seen from either team so far in the playoff run. Normally, Big Train and the Senators have put up a couple of runs in the first couple of innings. So this is the first time we've seen both teams held scoreless throughout the first 3. Might be a fairly evenly matched playoff championship between these 2 teams. We mentioned the parity throughout the entire Ripken League all season long.
As the 1-2 is hit high into center field. Under it is Williamson. He's got it for out number 1. Tagging up is Carter Groen. He'll make it into third safely. So runners on the corners now for the Senators. That'll bring up Mikey Guy. So the Senators looking to capitalize here with the runners on the corners. It's been a while since we saw the first run of the game scored by either team this late into the game.
Number 22, Mikey Guy.
And now we have the pleasure of Max Martzoff joining us once again in the booth. Max, how are you doing? First offering from Titus, hit high and deep into center field. Back goes Williamson, it's off the wall. Groen will come in to score. Kennedy stopped at third. Guy will slow up at second. The Senators drawing first blood here in the top of the 4th, courtesy of an RBI double from Mikey Guy.
So Max, how are you doing this evening?
And so we're going to have manager Sal Colangelo calling for a pitching change. Jake Titus's night will be complete. The Senators threatening to snowball the scoring here in the top of the 4th. We'll be back after this pitching change. It's going to be Trevor Orth relieving Jake Titus. team. For the Senators, a platinum opportunity to break this one open early for the Big Train. A good opportunity to quell it as the count moves 0-2 on Sweeney. Trevor Orth representing Roanoke College along with Jack Robinson has been perfect up to this point. Dominated through 3 innings in game 1 of the LCS semis against the Giants. Here comes the 0-2. Fouled off. It's Kennedy on third, Guy at second, Boris at first. Max, you've gotten out of so many of these jams before. Let's see if Trevor can do it this time around. Another 0-2. Upstairs for a ball.
Now Max coming into the championship facing the 4 seed in the Southern Maryland Senators, not the opponent you probably expected. What do you have to say about the Southern Maryland Senators from what you've seen so far this season?
One thing I can say about the Senators is they got hot at the right time. A lot of people could say we did the same thing. And everyone can say that they have pretty much shocked the entire league by making it here, especially having to go through the crop dusters and then go on the road to Alexandria, beat the Aces, and then shut them out in game 2. We were not expecting them for sure, I can tell you that. And it's honestly kind of interesting to see the Senators instead of the Aces.
Here comes the 1-2. That one grounded to Franklin at short, flips it over to second, just in the nick of time for out number 3. So the Senators leave them loaded, but they strike first here in the top of the 4th. Let's see if the Big Train can respond just as they have so many times this season. We'll be back for the bottom half of the inning shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Shirley Povich Field here at Cabin John Regional Park. The Senators taking a 1-0 lead in the top of the 4th. We'll see if the Big Train can respond here in the bottom half of the inning. Now I'm going to save any questions for Max after the first pitch here. Davin Whitaker, notorious for going after the first offering. That one he smartly does not go after. The count now 1-0. 1-0 from Loubier. That one grounded over to Kennedy at first. Flips it over to Loubier in time for out number 1. So a nice tag team effort there from Kennedy and Loubier to retire Whitaker. That'll bring up Matt Westley with 1 out and no one on. Now, Matt, no, go ahead, Phoebe. You were first.
I was going to say, Max, you guys have had such a dominant playoff run so far. What has the conversation and the culture within the dugout and the bullpen been?
To stay hungry. We know the job's not finished. We got to get 2 more to win this league, and it starts right now. And then we got to keep going. Got to keep putting bats on balls. Got to keep throwing strikes, getting outs, and eventually, it'll come through in this game. We know that. We've seen it happen all summer, and it just takes that one batter to get on base, and then it'll eventually lead to a big inning.
1-0 to Westley, up and in for ball 2. Max, Mark Loubier missed last season for FAU with injury. Obviously been a workhorse this summer and has played pretty well. What can Big Train fans, they've already seen a lot of him so far, but what do you like out of his game and what do you expect from him going forward?
He reminds me of Zach Greinke.
Ooh.
According to his analytic report, his fastball and his changeup average are pretty similar. So it's just a difference in spin.
As the 2-1 is hit out of play, that'll even up the count on Wesley.
Now, Max, who would you say from the Big Train squad has surprised you the most throughout the playoffs?
The most? Landon Franklin. Especially since he came off the bench, and then he started, and he went off.
He's definitely put up a very strong offensive performance, and he's also been so strong from the shortstop position. You've seen him make many a play.
Yes.
And that middle infield has seen its struggles throughout the season. So it's been great for the Big Train defense to be able to call Franklin consistent over at short, as that one's roped too short. Glove by Boris, fires it over to first in time for out number 2. So great contact from Wesley, but not the result he wanted, as that'll bring up Diaz with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Now, Max, when you said Zach Greinke, follow-up question to that, is he also the same kind of person as Zach Greinke, or just the baseball profile?
Just the baseball profile.
Okay.
He's a great kid. We love Mark as a teammate.
That was good to hear, because I was curious to see if that also came from a personality perspective, which I would have been very curious to dive deep down that if that were the case.
Yeah, if he was like that, I'd be questioning that.
The 0-1 to Diaz. That one popped over into left. Under it is Brewer. He's got it for out number 3. So the Big Train in some early trouble here. Scoreless through 4, down 1-0. We'll be back for the top of the 5th shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Shirley Povich Field here at Cabin John Regional Park. Trevor Orth still on the bump for the Big Train. He'll face the top of the order for the Senators with the center fielder Logan Tribble leading things off. Max Martzoff still in the booth with us. Now, Max, we've talked a lot about this season, but I figure we might not see you tomorrow, or if there's a Game 3, maybe not then. So I want to ask about 2025. You are headed into a leadership role with Florida Atlantic. This is going to be a big season for you. What are you looking to accomplish the most?
I'm looking to accomplish just giving it my all my last year of college baseball, and the ultimate goal is to get drafted, as a lot of college baseball players want to. But I want to leave FAU on a good note and know I left everything in the tank and will have no regrets when I leave.
What would you say you could bring lessons-wise from Big Train this summer into your game at FAU in the fall?
Biggest thing I would say from here to FAU is never be negative against myself, because at the end of the day, what I am doing is such a positive, negative influence. If I have a good outing, I need to always be even keel, and it's always an upward progress. It's never oh, I'm having a bad outing, never get negative against myself. Just it's trust the process. Trust the process.
So the count now 2-1 on Tribble. Now 3-1 on Tribble with Brewer waiting on deck. So Max, on a similar note, let's flash forward hypothetically. By the end of the 2025 season, what about that version of Max Martzoff do you want to be different than what you are currently?
Skinny. That's for sure.
That's not what I was expecting you to say.
Hey,
Al.
look, that's a good goal to set. That's a good goal to set.
I know my parents are watching this, and they're like, what the heck?
Full count offering from Orth, fouled off. How do you think you're going to go about accomplishing that? It often, for some people, it's different for everybody. But have you sort of devised a plan in order to accomplish that goal so far?
It's definitely more of the off-the-field dieting and just a simple routine. I always tend to feel good about myself after a couple days, and then I just give up on it. I know I'm active enough because, I mean, I'm here all the time, and I work camp either in the morning or afternoon. Sometimes I do double shifts, and I'll go to the gym right after. So, I mean, it's just got to be a process that I got to stay consistent with.
So Tribble will take his base. That'll bring up Brewer. Trevor Orth looking to keep this game at 1-0 here in the top of the fifth.
Do you think you're going to make some surprise returns to Shirley Povich Field to watch the 2025 Big Train play?
I would love to come back up here just to see the guys, if whoever do decide to return. Some people I have heard talk about returning was Emilio Gonzalez and Joey Wimpelberg. So I would love to come back and see them play, especially knowing that I won't be able to anymore.
Here comes the 1-0 to Brewer. A big swing and a miss.
Now, Max, you certainly left your mark not only on the field but also off. You were recently honored by the Catalyst food truck with your very own hot dog, the Mad Max. Can you tell us a little bit about the process to get a hot dog named after yourself?
That actually started last year. So when I got here beginning of the summer last year, I noticed that Chris, the owner of Catalyst Hot Dogs, asked me where I went to school, and I said Florida Atlantic, and he's like, oh, so you know Nicholas Del Prado? And I was like, oh yeah, I love Nick Del Prado. And he's like, that's what the Nico Suave hot dog is named after. I was like, oh. So I was like, we got to work on a hot dog for me if I, decide to become a legend here. Luckily enough, 2 years later, finally got one. So I give Chris and Catalyst all the respect for finally giving that to me, and that's awesome.
Did you get to choose the toppings that went on to the hot dog?
Yes, I did.
Can you walk us through that process of deciding the jalapenos and the hot sauce?
And the chili and the cheese and the bacon.
My favorite kind of hot dog is a chili dog, but I wanted just to make it spicy because I am a big spicy guy. So I was like, you know what? Jalapenos go good on anything pretty much. So let's just add that to a chili cheese dog, and then what the heck? Let's put
That
some hot
one's
sauce
ripped
on
into
it.
the glove of Crosland over to first, off target. Oh, so close to what would have been another inning-ending double play.
But what an excellent hop and catch from Jordan Crosland over at second.
Pardon me, that'll only be one out on the board. And so that'll bring up Carter Groen with a runner still on first. So, Max, I'm not sure if you saw, but Phoebe and I did try it.
Yes.
Live on air. And I must say it was pretty good as that one lands fair over the glove of Gonzalez. Tripping over on his way to second is Logan Tribble. Might have cost himself a base there. Shades of Carter Newman and Waldorf. Feels like centuries ago where he took a tumble rounding first. Tribble relegated to trying to pick himself back up on all fours. But a break there for the Big Train as runners will now be on first and second for Ian Kennedy. But, Max, we did try it, and I have to say, I think we both liked it better than we thought we would.
Really?
I think, at least my thinking was, that is too much stuff. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle the jalapenos and the hot sauce, but I would eat again.
Let's go.
I would for sure eat it again. It was definitely spicy. I don't mind spicy food. And I think all the toppings went well together.
The first offering to Ian Kennedy outside for a ball.
Now you brought up Nick Del Prado, and I know that the Nico Suave used to be your go-to order at Catalyst. Would you say that Mad Max has taken its place?
Isn't he kind of required to say yes?
Gonna have a little bias here, but yes.
Okay.
But if it wasn't a thing, obviously the Nico Suave would still be my go-to hot dog.
Count now 2-0 on Kennedy.
Speaking of hot dogs at Catalyst, underrated hot dog, the Lincoln Logs.
Oh, you're a fan of the cream cheese schmear.
I love the cream cheese on a hot dog. I don't know why it sounds weird, but it's amazing.
Our fellow New Jersey resident Lindsey Morin giving you a dirty look from the production side of the press box. As the 2-0 is in there for a strike.
I gotta say, I've never considered cream cheese on a hot dog.
Were you one day just like, you know what, I may as well try this, or you were actually desiring cream cheese on a hot dog?
No, I was like, I might as well try this.
The 2-1 in there for a strike. A great job of Orth to battle back here against Kennedy. Waiting on deck is the catcher, Nate McHugh.
So with the Senators still threatening on the base path, they've already taken a 1-0 lead. What would you advise the starting lineup?
We have our first doink of the playoffs. That's big time right there.
What would be your advice to the dugout and the bullpen in this moment if you were down there at this moment?
I would tell them, hey, we got here. Might as well start winning ball games, right? Got to get the bats starting to get hungry again.
That one a check swing. Did not go around, so the count will move full on Kennedy.
I will say the offense has been probably the most productive I've ever seen this summer. The last 3 games we have played in the playoffs, they're being very patient at the plate. They're swinging at what they want to swing at. They're moving runners. They're doing jobs. And it's impressive. I love the way they're hitting.
The 3-2 to Kennedy in there for strike 3. A huge strikeout for Orth. 2 down now here in the top of the 5th as McHugh will step up to the plate. Runners still on first and second for the Senators.
That was a beautiful breaking ball to catch him looking.
We've seen with a lot of these pitchers for the Big Train, when they're able to mix up their arsenal well is when they have the most success.
Now, Maxis, we might not get a chance to speak to you again before the end of the season. What has been your favorite memory from Big Train 2024? You can also include 2023 in there.
Can I go different summers? I can say one
Yes.
for 23 and 24?
Yes.
For 23, it was the New York trip that we took up to play against the other teams in the New England League. And we got to go to a Yankee game in Yankee Stadium, got to tour Fenway, got to tour Citi Field. And I think that was what brought us together as a winning team. And, of course, winning the league was also a fun experience. This summer, I would definitely say the team chemistry was there as soon as we all reported. And it's a great group of guys. I couldn't have asked for a better team to play for this summer.
That one hit out of play down the right field line. That one actually hitting off the light tower. So not the kind of light tower power McHugh expected. But the count now 1-2 on McHugh.
But Max, even though your summer in Bethesda might be coming to a close, I know your summer isn't over yet.
It is not.
Announcement?
Yes. As of yesterday, when this summer is over in Bethesda, I will be a part of the Katuitt Kettleers in the Cape Cod League.
Wow!
Congratulations, Max. That is so exciting. What are you looking forward to from the Cape?
That one's hitting to shallow left center field. Nate McHugh spoiling the big announcement here. He'll drive in Groen. The Senators now leading 2-0. Excuse me, that'll be Logan Tribble. Groen advancing to second. Sorry to put a damper there on
You're huge
on your spotlight.
Yeah, I was about to say, you just pulled a Nick Castellanos on us. But, no, what I'm looking forward to the Cape is it's been a bucket list achievement of mine to just say I was on a Cape Cod team. And the fact, yeah, so what? It's a temporary thing. I get 2 weeks, 3 weeks there. So what? I'm on a Cape Cod League summer team. That's an achievement I've always wanted to have.
Well, again, congratulations. That is certainly
Thank
a huge
you.
achievement. Going to bring you a lot of success into your spring season, hopefully at FAU.
Are you excited to live in Cape Cod?
Yes, I am. And there will be more than one Big Train player up there, though. Jonathan Stevens is also going to the Bourne Braves.
Jonathan Stevens out of Alabama.
Our boys are so grown up. Where are the handkerchiefs?
Super exciting for Jonathan Stevens as well. Congratulations to both of you. Again, that's such a huge accomplishment. Cape Cod, one of the best summer collegiate leagues.
And also the one that I think lasts the longest into the fall.
It does.
Count now 1 and 2 on Mikey Guy. And so there are a lot of players like you who get done with their summer seasons wherever they're at, and then we'll pitch the last couple or maybe even few up in Massachusetts. But that is a very exciting opportunity, and we are all very happy and a little bit jealous, if I'll say so myself. As Orth will hit Mikey Guy. That'll load up the bases once again, this time for the designated hitter Owen DeShazo. Speaking of Massachusetts, the Boston College Eagle looking to add on to this 2-0 lead.
Now with the Big Train, you've taken on more of a leadership role. What do you think your role is going to be in the Cape?
In the Cape, it's just, I don't think I'll really have a role. I think I'll just be there to get a couple innings, experience what it's like to be a part of that league, and just have as much fun as I can before I have to go back to school.
So we're going to have a mound visit here with Orth, along with Coach Craig Lopez and catcher Luke Vaughn. The Big Train not trying to fall behind by too much here. Again, haven't seen that really at all over these last couple of weeks. Again, the Big Train winners of 12 of their last 14. They're only in the regular season when he came up short.
In the regular season, you feel a little bit more loose, but in the playoffs, you always want to have the momentum, and I definitely think we had the momentum from the jump, and we kept our foot on the gas from the first pitch in game 1 till the last pitch in game 2.
Bounds grounded over to Wesley, fires it over to Gonzalez in time for out number 3. But the Senators strike again. They now lead 2-0. We're going to be back for the bottom of the 5th shortly. Thank you again, Max, for joining us in the booth. Congratulations on your promotion to the Cape Cod League.
Thank you, thank you.
So best of luck up there in Massachusetts. We're going to be back shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Bethesda down 2-0 as we're set to start the bottom of the fifth with Jordan Crosland facing Mark Loubier. It's going to be Crosland, Franklin, and Bowman due up for the Big Train as the first pitch from Loubier is in there for a strike. Again, a big thanks and a big congratulations to Max Martzoff and Jonathan Stevens as well, who will be pitching in the illustrious Cape Cod League in just a few days, I believe. A pretty quick turnaround from this season.
A very quick turnaround, but again, congratulations to both of them. Very strong pitchers that have come in for relief many a time for the Big Train this summer, spreading their wings to head on up to the Cape.
Crosland checking his swing. That one ruled a ball by first baseman Andy Simons. First base umpire Andy Simons. As that one's grounded to Boris, fields it cleanly, over to first in time for out number one. So Boris has had a busy and successful night so far at short. That'll bring up Landon Franklin with one out, no one on.
Now during the pregame, we talked a lot about how the Senators and the Big Train came into the championship round, both rolling with a lot of positive momentum. I do believe this is the challenge of the Senators, is having that underdog mentality, although they're not putting up an offensive explosion like we've seen during their past playoff games. They've taken the lead early on, and they're looking to protect that here. Big Train's going to have to dig deep to bring it back.
The 1-0 to Landon Franklin. That one grounded over to Boris. Bobbles this one. So a jinx from the opposing broadcaster. How about that? Silas Boris, his first mistake of the night, allowing Franklin to reach first safely. And so Bowman will step up to the plate with a runner on first and one out.
Just like I was saying, these teams are very evenly matched up, so it's those little errors that are going to cost you big time, especially in such an important round, the title just around the corner.
The Big Train looking to make it past their last roadblock in the Southern Maryland Senators. That one's hit high and deep into left field. It is caught at the warning track by Nathan Brewer. So a ridiculously loud out there for Bowman. Andrew Williamson stepping up to the plate with two outs.
A very powerful shot from the designated hitter, Bowman. But Nathan Brewer all over it at the warning track.
Williamson 1 for 2 tonight. Looking to catalyze some two-out magic as he fouls off the first pitch for strike one. Now, we've seen the Big Train in a similar situation against the Senators before. That was back on June 21st. The Senators led 4-0 heading into the seventh inning, only for the Big Train to put up a 5 spot in the bottom half of the inning. They would go on to win 5-4. Williamson recorded an RBI in that game. Looking to do so here. The 1-1 swung on and missed. That one actually fouled off into the glove of McHugh. Let's see if the machine can produce when his team needs him the most. As we see him become a quasi-wind turbine there once again with the bat twirls. Here comes the 1-2. That one's ripped into right for a base hit.
So right on cue, the machine producing yet again. I didn't want to jinx him, but he has yet to pay his rent over at second base, but pushing a runner over to second will do for now.
Are tenants allowed to pay over at first?
He just normally pays at second.
Again, just to clarify to viewers, if Williamson is paying at second, are other Big Train players paying elsewhere?
No, it's the rent is due at second base.
So you have to make it to second base in order to pay your rent.
Yes.
I think you got a lot of evictions coming up if that's the case, Phoebe. First offering to Luke Vaughn. That one inside for a ball. Although the Big Train probably have caught up on some past dues over these past few games. Feels like everybody's made it in to at least second base. Franklin standing there now with Williamson at first. Here comes the 1-0. Upstairs for ball 2. Again, Vaughn entering tonight as the Big Train's hottest hitter of the playoffs. 6 for his first 10. Also took 4 walks and was hit by a pitch. As we're going to have a mound visit between McHugh and Loubier. Trying to make it 5 appearances with at least 5 full innings pitched.
You see the Big Train threatening with 2 runners on the base, looking for some of that magic 2-out hitting that we've seen throughout the playoffs thus far.
Here comes the 2-0. That one hit high into left. Calling off Brewer is Boris, who's got it for out number 3. So the Big Train strand a pair. They remain behind by a pair. Coming up on crunch time shortly here at Shirley Povich. Let's see if the Senators can extend their lead even further, or if the Big Train can hold them scoreless for the first time since the 3rd. We'll be back here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to beautiful Shirley Povich Field here at Cabin John Regional Park as the Big Train find themselves down 2-0 as we're set to start the top of the 6th. It's going to be the shortstop Silas Boris leading things off for the Senators.
Now sitting behind by 2, this is the largest deficit the Big Train have faced so far in the playoffs. Trevor Worth looking to hold them scoreless for the first time since the 3rd.
As that one's popped up. Probably said hello to the clouds along the way as Vaughn catches it for out number 1. That'll bring up the second baseman, Mike Sweeney. Bethesda uncharacteristically anemic on offense so far, just 3 hits. Last half inning was the first time they had held that kind of opportunity. Unfortunately squandered it and could not advance either runner over into scoring position. Franklin already in scoring position at second, but was stranded there to end the half inning. Count now 2-0 on Mike Sweeney.
Now, throughout the regular season, we watched the Big Train pull out some later inning magic to either pull out the victory or come just shy of it. Haven't had to rely on that throughout the playoff run or even that much throughout the end of the regular season, but are going to need to pull out the big guns to walk away with the victory tonight.
But the count now 3-0 on Sweeney with Tribble waiting on deck. Here comes the 3-0. That one in there for a strike. We've seen Orth battle back in counts already. Big Train hope he can do it again. That one popped up into shallow right center field. Williamson calling off Whitaker and Crosland, and he's got it for out number 2. So the top of the lineup now stepping up to the dish, and Logan Tribble with 2 outs and nobody on.
Now Tribble has spelled trouble for the Big Train so far this evening, has reached base on all 3 at-bats. Started off with a base hit and then drew 2 walks.
First offering to Tribble, inside for a ball. Tribble, a native of Bradenton, Florida, representing the Wofford Terriers as a rising sophomore. Was the Florida 2A State Player of the Year in high school at the Out of Door Academy. He'll be looking for an expanded role this season. Went just 2 of 10 last season. Here comes the 2-0. That one grounded to third, backhanded by Wesley. A bullet over to first for out number 3. So the Senators are retired in order. Let's see if the Big Train can finally get the bats going when we come back here on Big Train Baseball Network.
Watching you when you leave. Something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. Two kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up. 'Cause nothing feels as good as summer love.
Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Bethesda still trailing 2-0 as Emilio Gonzalez will lead off the bottom of the 6th. First offering from teammate Lubier is outside for a ball. Lubier officially completed 5 innings of work, allowing just 3 hits and no runs. Although he's down 2-0 to Emilio Gonzalez, who, as Max Martzoff said, could be back next summer for the Big Train, along with maybe Joey Wimpelberg. Count now 3-0 on Gonzalez.
Again, neither of those players are confirmed returners for 2025, but are definitely considering it.
The spirit of the Sunshine State potentially ever present in 2025. And ever present now on first as Emilio Gonzalez will take his base. And now we'll go up the coast to East Carolina, where Davin Whitaker is going to step up to the plate. And we're going to have a mound visit here. Looks like Lubier will stay in the game for now. But you got to think that might change if the Big Train are able to put one or maybe even two more on the bases. Davin Whitaker, a very formidable threat to do so. Although he is still searching for his first hit of the night. 0 for 2 so far.
Now batting for the Big Train, number 26, Davin Whitaker.
So Whitaker digs in. Looking to generate some rhythm for the Big Train. First offering in there for a strike. Whitaker's East Carolina Pirates getting the last national seed in the men's college baseball tournament in 2024. Although they were upset by Cinderella Evansville. That one grounded over to Kennedy, who will make a business decision and tap first. Will let Gonzalez go to second. Didn't look like he would be able to get it over there in time. So Whitaker now 0 for 3 on the evening. That will bring up the third baseman, Matthew Westley.
You saw Kennedy hesitate there for a minute. Was originally going to try and make the throw down to second, but as you said, backtracked at the last second to make the tag out at first.
Westley also looking for his first hit of the evening. Gonzalez in scoring position at second. That one upstairs for a ball.
Wesley looking for his first hit of the night, but has been dealing bullets from third base.
Here comes the 1-0. That one fouled off. Looked like it hit the mask of home plate umpire Tom Russo. Luckily not hard enough to, or he'd have to come out of the game. We've already seen that once this summer. Here comes the 1-1. Off speed, almost drills Westley in the noggin. That'll bring the count to 2-1. Westley's Virginia Tech Hokies, 11 NCAA tournament appearance. Have made the super regional round just once. That was back in 2022 when they fell to eventual runner-up Oklahoma. As that one drops into center field. Gonzalez on his horse around third. He's in to score. The ice is finally broken. The Big Train on the board here in the bottom of the sixth, courtesy of Matthew Westley.
Gonzalez bringing home the first run of the evening for the Big Train.
And that's going to be the knockout blow for Mark Lubier. A masterful pitching performance, allowing just 4 hits and 1 earned in 5 1/3 innings pitched. And so we're going to be back after a quick commercial break. Lubier getting a worthy send-off from his teammates.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up.
1
fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move, boogie down. The juice in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner.
Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. In to relieve Mark Loubier, it's going to be Wofford Terrier Davis Rivers, also a Ripken League All-Star. Looking to keep this game at 2-1 as the first batter he'll face is Chris Diaz. That one popped up into foul territory and out of play.
Now a base hit from Matthew Wesley, able to score Emilio Gonzalez off of second. Kennedy perhaps regretting his decision to tag out Whitaker at first instead of making the throw over to second.
I think that's revisionist history. I think that was a good play from Kennedy. I'm not sure he would have gotten Gonzalez at second, especially because the potential cons are that everybody is safe and you could have just easily tagged first. But I understand your line of thinking. It is not one that I lost my sentence down the river.
So the Big Train with one out on the board, looking to keep the bats moving. Already notched one on the board.
Diaz rips this one foul down the right field line. Got out in front of that one. So the count's still 0-2. Jordan Crosland waiting on deck. Wesley at first.
Max Martzoff said while in the booth with us that what needs to happen for the Big Train now is to get the bats hot and keep them consistently hot to generate some momentum across the base path. Gonzalez coming in to score the first run of the evening with a runner still on first. Wesley looking to potentially tie the game at 2.
Another 0-2 to Diaz. This one's hit high and deep into right, but foul. Boy, he got all of that one. Again, just pulled it a little too much. Another 0-2 pitch outside for a ball. The 1-2 from Rivers. That one popped up into foul territory and out of play. So Diaz doing a great job of staying alive. Let's see if the defense at the plate can pay off. In a pretty big spot here, the Big Train down by 1. Haven't been able to generate consecutive positive at-bats very much tonight. That one in there for strike 3 as Wesley's able to take second. That one painting the inside corner. So with 2 down and a runner now in scoring position, that'll bring up Crosland.
So Wesley getting aggressive on the base path. Hoping that aggressiveness will pay off. Big Train now with 2 outs on the board. Crosland hoping to bring Wesley home.
The first offering to Crosland, that one inside. A great job of jetering out of the way of that one. Jordan Crosland, a native of Suffolk, Virginia, playing his college ball at the University of Maryland. The 1-0 outside for ball 2. Again, has been the most frequent batter for the Big Train this season. Recorded the most at-bats in the regular season with 117. Off nights have come few and far in between. Almost received a full one last night. Made a pinch hit appearance late. Donning the number 30. That one gets by McHugh. Wesley able to advance to third.
So Wesley's continuing to stay aggressive on the base path. Has now put the tying run just a base away, with Crosland sitting in favor of the count.
So a critical error there from the Senators as McHugh is going to go talk to Rivers. Davis Rivers this season, a 4.12 ERA in the regular season, made 10 appearances for the Senators, tallying 24 innings pitched. Hasn't allowed an earned run in exactly a week. Has allowed just 1 hit in his last 4 2/3 innings pitched. The 3-0 to Crosland, low and outside for ball 4. So that'll put runners on the corners for Landon Franklin, the pride of Cleveland, Tennessee, representing the Kentucky Wildcats in a humongous spot here with 2 outs facing a Ripken League All-Star. In these moments, in these games, it just means more. Runner takes off. That one gets away from McHugh. Wesley will scurry back to third. But the Big Train now have 2 runners in scoring position.
So
another one getting by McHugh.
not only do you have the tying run in scoring position at third in Matthew Wesley, you now have the go-ahead in scoring position thanks to Jordan Crosland's aggressive base running.
And a very speedy one, so you got to think if a ball is able to drop somewhere in the outfield, it'll be a couple of DMV ball players scoring, not just one. The 1-0 to Franklin, that one misses for ball 2. We've seen the Big Train at their best at the plate when they remain disciplined. We've seen them already take a few walks tonight. The 2-0 off speed inside for ball 3. Waiting on deck is Keenan Bowman, who already has a hit tonight. The 3-0 from Davis Rivers paints the outside corner for strike 1. Rivers will step off the mound for a brief moment. The weight of this pitch is gigantic. The 3-1 swung on and missed for strike 2. So now the weight of the world is extremely heavy on both the shoulders of Landon Franklin and Davis Rivers. Who will lift it off themselves? Who will be crushed by it? The 3-2 swung on and missed. Strike three. Davis Rivers escapes, stranding two runners in scoring position. The Big Train get on the board in the bottom of the sixth, but they still trail by one. We'll be back for the top of the seventh shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Bethesda getting one back in the bottom of the sixth, but they still trail by one. It's going to be 2-3-4 due up for the Senators, with Nathan Brewer leading things off. Trevor Orth still on the bump for the Big Train.
Orth was able to hold him scoreless in the top of the sixth for the first time since the top of the third. We're going to keep this a one-run game.
His first offering to Brewer, a swing and a miss. That one actually fouling back into the glove of Vaughn for strike one. Brewer attending Middle Tennessee State. Their football and basketball teams have been the epitome of feisty in the 21st century. On the football side of things, they have given a lot of high major teams trouble. Specifically, the Mizzou Tigers took them to overtime in 2003, spoiled homecoming in 2016 by hanging 51 in Columbia, then almost beat the Tigers last season. And in 2022, walked into Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, and dunked on the Hurricanes. And on the men's basketball side, as a 15 seed in 2016, upsetting Michigan State before falling to Syracuse, and the next season knocking off 5th seed in Minnesota as a 12 seed. And finally, on the women's side, have been a force across multiple conferences for years. Looking to emulate that Blue Raider spirit here, but he goes down swinging again for strike three. That's his third strikeout of the evening. Yet another one for Orth in what has been to this point a dominant season for the Roanoke College Maroon. As that'll bring up Carter Groen. The clouds hanging over Shirley Povich Field getting just a little bit darker, as Groen always a threat to do some damage at the plate.
As we mentioned, we watched Carter Groen continuously outrun Andrew Williamson in the race for the most home runs in the league.
Him and Williamson shared that honor in the regular season. Williamson coming up just a couple of RBI short of the Triple Crown. As the 1-0 was fouled off for a strike. Andrew Williamson winning at least a share of the batting average and the home run titles. Had to settle for 2 crowns like it was ancient Sparta. As the 1-1 off speed is in the dirt for a ball. Here comes the 2-1. That one grounded foul down the third base line. That'll even up the count on 2 on Groen. A native of Missouri City, Texas. Made the MAAC All-Rookie team last season with Iona. Led the Gales with a .354 batting average in conference play. Finished the season with 4 home runs and 29 RBIs. Here comes the 2-2. Off speed, just missing. Much to the chagrin of the Big Train faithful here at Shirley Povich Field. I think almost everyone in a seat thought that was a strike.
But unfortunately for the Big Train faithful, Carter Groen still alive at the plate on a full count.
The 3-2 pitch. That one popped foul. That one headed toward the Davis family pavilion. Here comes the 3-2. That one in there for strike 3. So Carter Groen, who according to him can solve a Rubik's Cube, unable to solve Trevor Orth there. As that'll record out number 2 with Ian Kennedy stepping up to the plate.
Back-to-back Ks for Trevor Orth, looking to keep the good times rolling from the mound and keep this at a 1-run game.
Kennedy still looking for his first hit of the game. Although he did take a walk in his second at bat, that one fouled off. Now for the public safety of everyone in attendance, it is a waning gibbous in the moon cycle tonight, so the Michigan Wolverine has no chance of turning into one tonight. The 0-1 to Kennedy, off speed, lined right to Franklin at short for out number 3. So the Senators are retired in order once again. Let's see if the Big Train can keep the positive momentum rolling on offense when we come back for the bottom of the 7th here on Big Train Baseball Network.
You leave something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. Two kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up. 'Cause nothing feels as good as summer love. Move so fast. Here's hoping this night will last.
Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. It's going to be the top of the order due up for Bethesda. Davis Rivers still on the mound for the Senators as he'll look to protect a 2-1 lead. Matthew Westerly recording an RBI single last half inning, but a bad start there for Davis Rivers as Keenan Bowman gets drilled in the back and appears fired up. Hopefully looking to give the machine some extra batteries here. Williamson 2 for 3 so far tonight.
Now Bowman was not in the starting lineup during the semifinals game 1, but was in the play-in game and last night and in both those games was hit by the pitch at least once.
Pulls back on a bunt, good idea. Count 1-0 on Williamson. He's primarily laid down bunts down the third base line, so look for some action from Mikey Guy. He'll take that pitch for a strike. The 1-1. That one's hitting to center field, and it'll drop. Bowman flying around second. He'll make it to third easily. This guy's been on fire on the base paths. Andrew Williamson now 3 for 4. Now the onus is on his teammates to capitalize on this golden opportunity. And not many better bats to send up to the plate in this situation. And the pride of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Luke Vaughn.
Big Train fans, make some noise!
The crowd here at Shirley Povich injected with new life. Williamson immediately takes off for second. McHugh isn't even going to bother. So 2 runners now in scoring position. Williamson representing the go-ahead run. The energy is high. The spirits are hopeful. And to kill it for a brief second is Keenan Bowman, who I think needs to tie a shoe.
Might have come undone as he was flying around second to make it into third.
Those best be double knotted. No single knots allowed around here. The 0-1 to Vaughn. That one hit out of play into the parking lot. No cars or people were harmed in the making of that foul ball. Count now 0-2 on Luke Vaughn. Emilio Gonzalez waiting on deck. You can see the Senators infield all playing shallow. The 0-2 off speed that hit Luke Vaughn. A major bailout for the Big Train. Vaughn's hit by his second pitch tonight, and that'll load the bases for Emilio Gonzalez.
Now Vaughn getting hit by a pitch to load the bases is a situation we saw during the bottom of the first.
And so we are going to have a pitching change. Davis Rivers' evening is going to be complete. Might have to get the Jaws theme music out for the cleanup hitter Gonzalez. A dangerous scenario for the Senators when we come back here on Big Train Baseball Network.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner, no. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move.
Welcome back to Shirley Povich Field here at Cabin John Regional Park. The Senators in a jam here, making a call to the bullpen. It's going to be Ty Harris, a rising junior for the Brown Bears, hailing from the Woodlands, Texas. Faced with peril early on, as it's going to be Emilio Gonzalez stepping up to the plate with bases loaded and no one out here in the bottom of the seventh. The Senators clinging to a 2-1 lead.
Now Gonzalez was walked during his last at-bat, and then a base hit from Matthew Wesley allowed him to speed on home to score the first run of the evening for the Big Train.
First offering to Gonzalez outside for a ball. Now this is Harris's third appearance of this postseason. Pitched an inning and a third against the Crop Dusters in the play-in, and pitched a no-hit inning against the Aces in Game 1 of the LCS semis. The 1-0, lined into left center field. That'll get down. Send everybody, Galvin. 1 run's in, 2 runs are in. Here comes Vaughn. It's a base clearing double for Emilio Gonzalez. Boca Raton, get after it.
Emilio Gonzalez coming up big time in a crunch time situation. Now, as I was saying before the commercial break, that was a situation we saw in the bottom of the first. Bases loaded with Bowman, Williamson, and Vaughn. Unfortunately, Big Train wasn't able to capitalize on it, but Gonzalez giving us a much different story here. A base clearing double to give the Big Train the lead.
Gonzalez has been spraying the left half of the field all season long, but arguably no hit bigger than that one, giving the Big Train a 4-2 lead. Davin Whitaker looking to add on. He'll show bunt, but will miss. Although it looks like they're going to call that one a ball. I think Whitaker was able to pull back at the very last second. The 1-0, fouled off. All it takes is one swing of the bat. As we had said before the game started, Emilio Gonzalez had been struggling relative to how he had been playing in the regular season. Entered tonight just 3 of 13. But the biggest extra base hit of the playoff for the Big Train. Whitaker pulls back a bunt. Good idea, as that one was in the dirt. Now this will be Harris's 14th appearance of the summer. Just his second against the Big Train, lasted just 2 outs back on June 27th, allowed 2 earned in a 14-7 Big Train victory. Whitaker showing bunt again. He'll lay one down. Fielded by Guy over to first. Not in time. Kennedy was thrown off the bag. And so runners on the corners now for Matthew Westerly. Had an RBI single in his last at-bat. Another base hit would, in all likelihood, bring home run number 5. Still no outs here in the bottom of the 7th.
Now Matthew Wesley had a big hit during his last at-bat to score Emilio Gonzalez off of second. Looking for some more success from the plate with runners on the corners and no outs on the board.
The first offering to Wesley outside for a ball. Wesley, the last remaining Virginia Tech Hokie from the original roster. Carter Newman and Luca Perriello have been long departed from the Big Train, but the Hokie spirit still alive and well, both up here in the booth and down on the field, as that throw gets away from Kennedy off the first base umpire. That'll allow Gonzalez to score from third. Oh, an egregious mistake there from the Senators. Ty Harris taking an unnecessary risk, sending Whitaker back to first. Boy, oh boy, that was arguably the worst possible outcome for the Senators, as you do not want to give the Big Train extra runs.
And we talked a lot about that at the beginning of the game, especially during the pregame show. It's the little errors that are going to cost you big time in the final round of the championships. These teams are so evenly matched up that those little slip-ups are going to cost you so much.
The count now 2-0 on Whitaker. The Big Train getting an assist from first base umpire Andy Simons.
And I have to say, I am loving the hustle and aggressiveness from Emilio Gonzalez tonight. He isn't one to necessarily steal extra bases, but tonight, been on fire across the base path.
That one's lined foul down the right field line. That'll bring the count to 2-1 on Wesley. Davin Whitaker at first. The 2-1 to Wesley. That one missing for ball 3. Chris Diaz waiting on deck. The Big Train have scored 4 here in the bottom of the 7th, still with no outs. Wesley looking to add on, as that one's lined foul once again, bringing the count full. Now, while the Senators have largely dominated throughout this postseason, they were involved in a close contest. Game 1 in Alexandria. They were able to fend off a 9th inning comeback from the Aces. Took that game 4-3. As Wesley lifts that one high into left center field, and that is down. Around second is Whitaker. He'll stop at third. Wesley's into second. The Train keep on rolling here in the bottom of the 7th. They now have 2 runners in scoring position for Chris Diaz.
A diving Logan Tribble out in center field just couldn't get a hand on it.
The Big Train giving Ty Harris a lot of Logan trouble this half inning. A heck of an effort in center, as you said, Phoebe, by Logan Tribble. Diaz getting some words from manager Sal Colangelo. As we've said many times since the feat was accomplished, crossed the 600 victory mark for summer collegiate baseball, one of just a few to accomplish it across the United States.
Sal Colangelo, one of the winningest summer collegiate baseball coaches, as you said, notched 600 wins earlier this season. Looking to bring home the 11th championship title for the Big Train.
Would also be their 7th in the last 8 seasons. A Boston Celticsian run of dominance. A UCLA basketball run of dominance. Looking to extend it this time around against the upstart Southern Maryland Senators. Diaz showing bunt, but pulling back at the last second. That one in there for a strike. The 2-1 from Harris. That one grounded foul. That'll even up the count on Diaz with Crosland waiting on deck. Diaz 0 for 3 tonight. Although, like so many games in recent memory, his teammates have been able to pick up the slack. The 2-2. Off speed, in there for strike 3. Diaz goes down for the 3rd time tonight. That'll bring up Crosland with runners still at 2nd and 3rd. It's Whitaker at 3rd and Wesley at 2nd.
Crosland has taken a pair of walks this evening. Looking for either a walk or a big hit to keep the good times rolling for the Big Train.
First offering to Crosland's outside for a ball. The Big Train looking to land potentially a knockout blow here in the bottom of the 7th. The 1-0. That off speed, looping into the zone for a strike. The 1-1. Low in the dirt for ball number 2. Crosland's Maryland Terrapins, 9 NCAA tournament appearances, have made Super Regionals twice in 2014 and 2015, but were stopped by the Virginia Cavaliers both times. As the 2-1 inside for ball number 3. Landon Franklin waiting on deck. Virginia in both of those seasons making the College World Series final, split those series with Vanderbilt, as that one is hit sky high into shallow left field. And it's caught by Tribble. Whitaker tagging up. I think he caught Tribble off guard and he'll score. Moving to 3rd is Wesley. The base running continues to produce for the Big Train. They now lead 6-2.
Now that is the Davin Whitaker we have come to know and love in this playoff run. He is so ambitious with his base running, and it comes up big in big moments. He's been very successful, although very risky with it. But you see him scoring the 6th run because of that risk-taking behavior.
You don't get on Wheaties boxes by holding up at 3rd base. And so that'll bring up Franklin with Wesley on 3rd. The Big Train now leading 6-2. First offering to Landon Franklin. That one low for a ball. Franklin's Kentucky Wildcats underwent a dream season in 2024. The only team that was better than them in the regular season was Tennessee, who went on to win the College World Series title. The Wildcats were picked to finish in the bottom half of the SEC before the season. Ended up capturing the number 2 seed nationally. As the 2-0 is swung on and missed for a strike, the Wildcats eventually losing to Florida, which will be the future school of current Big Train infielder Justin Nato. Here comes the 2-1. That one popped up into foul territory. And Kennedy's got it for out number 3. But boy, oh boy, the damage has been done. A 5 spot from the Big Train in the bottom of the 7th, which is exactly what happened almost a month ago today. The Big Train went on to win that game. Let's see if they can produce the same result tonight. We'll be back for the top of the 8th shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Shirley Povich Field here at Cabin John Regional Park. The Big Train have turned this game upside down. They lead it 6-2 as we start the top of the 8th with Nate McHugh and a new pitcher on the bump for the Big Train. It's going to be Ripken League All-Star, the fireballer from Birmingham, Jonathan Stevens. Looking to carry over the momentum set by Trevor Orth.
And as Max Martzoff announced while he joined us in the booth, Jonathan Stevens going to be continuing his summer on the Cape after the Big Train season wraps up. Congratulations again to Jonathan Stevens and Max Martzoff, a huge accomplishment. But Jonathan Stevens now looking to shut the door on the Senators.
On a former Boston College Eagle, Nate McHugh, as the count quickly moves 0-2. I think to officially indoctrinate Martzoff and Stevens into Northeast culture, we should get them some Sperry's. Have them walking around like they own a boat. I think both of them would look really, really nice in some short, bright-colored shorts and some Sperry's with no socks. Not that you wear Sperry's with socks on the regular, but definitely a nice northeast vibe.
I don't know if you could pay either Max or Jono enough money to get them into that outfit.
All right, we'll ask a little bit later. Count now 1-2 on McHugh. 1 for 3 tonight. Mikey Guy waiting on deck. Here comes the 1-2. Fouled off back into the Senators' dugout. Stevens has been a shutdown relief arm for the Big Train all season long. I'll knock on the wooden Big Train whistle before I say this. Stevens has yet to allow more than one earned run in any of his 11 appearances so far this season. As the 1-2 hits him in the back. So Nate McHugh will take first base, bringing up Mikey Guy. This will be Stevens' second appearance of the playoffs. Pitched a full inning in Game 1 of the LCS semis in Gaithersburg. Allowed 2 hits and an earned in just 1 full inning pitched. So we'll see if Stevens can take the Big Train home to a Game 1 LCS final victory, or if he eventually gets relieved at some point in the near future. Here comes the 1-0 to Mikey Guy. That one hit high into right center field. Williamson calls off Whitaker for out number 1. McHugh will go back to first. That will bring up the designated hitter, Owen DeShazo.
Number 12, Owen DeShazo.
DeShazo has yet to reach base so far this evening, has gone 0 for 3.
DeShazo, a towering figure in the box. Although that might prove advantageous for pitchers, as we've seen this season with a larger strike zone. And there is strike 1. On the official Ripken League website, DeShazo listed at 6'6". As the 0-1 is fouled off for strike 2. Waiting on deck is the shortstop, Silas Boris. Has had a very busy night in the field. He's 1 for 2 so far tonight. Recorded a hit in his first at-bat and a walk in his second. Here comes the 0-2. That one gets by Vaughn. The first one that's gotten by Vaughn all night long. So that'll bring the count to 1-2. Nate McHugh able to advance into scoring position, as we're going to have a quick conversation between the Bama boys. Again, the SEC very well represented on the Big Train. A couple of Kentucky Wildcats, a couple of Alabama Crimson Tide, and a future Florida Gator. Here comes the 1-2. That one low and outside for a ball. We've seen that happen to Stevens a few times this season. It just looks like the ball sticks to his hand for an extra split second longer than he anticipated. We see that sometimes with football quarterbacks. Sometimes they'll throw a ball straight into the ground accidentally because it stuck to their hand too long. As DeShazo able to stay alive here. Speaking of football, very excited for Boston College's visit to the University of Missouri. The Eagles will be traveling to Columbia in September. They knocked off the Tigers in overtime when they played in Massachusetts, as the Eagles swings and misses for strike 3. So that'll record out number 2 for Silas Boris.
Number 8, Silas.
Again, 1 for 2 tonight, has reached base in 2 of his 3 at-bats. Boris representing the Georgia Southern Eagles, hailing from Greensboro, North Carolina. First offering to Boris is in the dirt. The Big Train looking to emulate last year's LCS final against the Aces and take game 1. As the 1-0 was fouled off for a strike. Once again, game 2 tomorrow will be right here at Shirley Povich Field, as the Blue Crabs needed to take back their stadium for the rest of the season.
However, the Senators will be batting second tomorrow, as they are technically the home team tomorrow.
That one up and in on Boris. A little matrix action there on the batter's box. That'll bring the count to 2-1. The 2-1. That one fouled off. Jonathan Stevens now with a chance to leave the Senators scoreless for the 3rd consecutive inning. The 2-2 from Stevens, swung on and missed for strike 3. The Crimson Tide rolling here in the top of the 8th. The Big Train will look to add on to their 4-run lead when we come back here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. We have a new pitcher on the bump for the Senators. It's going to be Dawson Weatherald making his first appearance of the postseason, facing the top of the order for the Big Train. Keenan Bowman leading things off.
Now, Bowman was hit by a pitch during his previous at-bat, which got the good times rolling, contributed to the 5-spot onslaught in the bottom of the 7th.
Bowman 1 for 3 tonight. Has made his biggest impact on the base paths. Has set the tone with aggressive yet smart base running. Both him and Davin Whitaker, the two East Carolina Pirates, have taken a lot of extra bases tonight as the count moves 2-0. Weatherall's last appearance came 10 days ago amidst a 14-1 blowout at the hands of the Aces at Frank Mann Field. Has picked up 5 decisions on the year, 3 of them being victories. This will be his 3rd appearance against the Big Train. Did not last more than 1 inning in either outing. Here comes the 3-0. That one inside for ball 4. So the Big Train will look to release the Bowman on the base paths once again. Andrew Williamson stepping up to the plate with a white-hot bat. 3 for 4 so far tonight.
Keenan Bowman hoping to give the stands an encore of the Bow Show with some aggressive base running.
First offering to Williamson outside for a ball. The Bow Show. I like that one. Kind of sounds like a series about archery you'd find on a super niche television channel that you'd have to go out of your way to buy.
Well, I can't take credit for it. It comes from Keenan Bowman himself.
Has he been called that before, or did he make that up himself?
I'm not sure, but I have heard him say it before. So it wasn't my original idea. But I think it's funny.
I feel like making up your own nickname isn't as cool as it being given to you, but that's just me. As that one's ripped fair down the right field line. Bowman flying around second. He's into third once again on a single. Andrew Williamson records his 4th hit of the night. And the Train continue to roll. The top of this lineup on fire.
All right, well, nickname given to himself by himself or not, he's definitely earned it.
Tonight, oh, for sure. Absolutely.
It has certainly been the Bow Show in the bottom of the 7th and now the bottom of the 8th. As there are now runners on the corners for catcher Luke Vaughn.
So that'll bring up Vaughn with runners on the corners and no outs. Let's see if Williamson jumps at an early opportunity to steal. He will not this time around as the count moves to 1-0 on Luke Vaughn. Has been hit by a couple of pitches tonight. I think he'd rather get on base with a hit or a walk. The 1-0 high for ball 2. Now if the bottom of the 7th was a hard punch to the stomach, this inning has a chance to be a knockout hook right to the face. The 2-0. So Vaughn in an advantageous count once again, on the verge of reaching base a 3rd time tonight without recording a hit. And waiting on deck. Dun-dun, 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 dun. Emilio Gonzalez.
Emilio Gonzalez has gotten very hot.
Andrew Williamson showing off. Was going to end up there anyway.
He just wanted to get an early jump on it, I guess.
Well, that was a good baseball play. All jokes aside, if Vaughn had hit that one into the gap, that would have increased his chances of scoring. So a good play there from Williamson, all jokes aside. And so we're going to have a mound visit here with Weatherald, as the Senators are trying to not let deja vu take place once again.
bases loaded once again. Bowman, Williamson, and Vaughn. Last time Gonzalez came up to the plate in this situation, knocked in a double to clear the bases and give the Big Train a dominant lead. Can he do it again?
Weatherald will stay in the game. A daunting task in front. Gonzalez 1 for 3 tonight. Obviously his last at bat, a base clearing double. The first offering to Gonzalez outside for a ball.
This is actually the third time this evening that Gonzalez has found himself with the bases loaded. Came up big time with a double to clear the bases.
Here comes the 1-0. That one hit high into center field. Back goes Tribble, just shy of the warning track. He's got it for out number 1. Tagging up is Bowman. Williamson and Vaughn will both advance. And the Big Train extend their lead to 7-2. Emilio Gonzalez, the playoff sac fly king for the Big Train.
Again, so while he doesn't always reach base on his at-bats, he's had so many productive at-bats throughout this playoff run. Pushing runners forward across the base path has just scored the Big Train's 7th run of the evening.
So that'll bring up Whitaker, who's 1 for 4 so far tonight.
During his last at-bat, laid down a bunt.
We'll look to swing away here. Here comes the 1-0. That one swung on and missed for strike 1. The 1-1. That one fouled off down the third base line. But it is ruled foul by home plate umpire Tom Russo. So the count now 1-2 on Whitaker. Williamson at third. Vaughn at second. Here comes the 1-2. That one popped up out of play down the third base line. So Whitaker will stay alive. Looking to make a bigger impact for East Carolina in 2025. Did not play last season for the Pirates. The 1-2. Fouled off again. Whitaker has gotten just a bit out in front of the past couple of pitches. Looking to time it up just right. Matt Wesley's waiting on deck.
Wesley hit a double during his last at-bat to help push Gonzalez home.
Count now 2-2 on Davin Whitaker. Wesley was almost retired with what was almost an incredible web gem in center by Tribble. Unfortunately, the ball was just out of his reach. Another 2-2, this one outside, bringing the count full on Whitaker. The full count offering, that one swung on and missed for strike 3. So Weatherald retires Whitaker. That'll bring up Wesley with 2 runners still in scoring position.
Number 20, Matthew Wesley.
Again, it's not the best players that succeed when it matters the most. It's the players that play the best Matthew Wesley struggling entering tonight, but is 2 for 4 with a couple of really big hits. The 0-1 inside, nearly hitting him. Again, it's Williamson on third, Vaughn at second. Vaughn has reached base 3 times tonight, yet still has not recorded a hit. 2 hit by pitches and a walk. That one grounded up the middle. Glove by Boris over to first off the line. That one gets away from Kennedy. Both Williamson and Vaughn score. The Big Train now lead by a touchdown, 9-2. All 9 of their runs coming after the 6th inning. Some magical late inning offense from Bethesda. And we are going to have another pitching change for Southern Maryland. Dawson Weatherald struggling mightily here in the bottom of the 8th. So we're going to take a quick commercial break here on Big Train Baseball Network. A new pitcher for the Senators when we come back. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. The new pitcher on the bump for the Senators, it's going to be Alex Angelitis facing Chris Diaz, who looks at the first pitch for a strike. Diaz, searching for his first positive at-bat of the night, has struck out 3 times tonight.
Over at second base is Matthew Wesley. He might have picked up Andrew Williamson's lease. Has had back-to-back doubles this evening.
It's a very nice roommate. In this economy? The 1-1 to Diaz in there for strike 2. Angelitis looking for a bounce-back performance, has been roughed up a bit in his last 3 outings. That included that 14-1 defeat to the Aces 10 days ago, allowed 5 hits and 5 earned in just a full inning pitched. As Diaz grounds this one over to Kennedy. Backhand stop, flip over to Angelitis. In time for out number 3. But the Big Train continue to pad their lead. They lead by 7. The Senators, a last gasp for a potential miracle comeback when we come back here on Big Train Baseball Network.
Keep watching you when you leave. Something new
Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Jonathan Stevens still on the bump for the Big Train. A defensive substitution. Justin Nadeau taking Jordan Crosland's place at second for the top of the ninth. It's going to be 9-1-2 due up for the Senators. Stevens facing Mike Sweeney to lead things off. And his first pitch is inside for a ball. So it will be Stevens, who the Big Train are counting on to take them home en route to yet another dominant playoff victory and put themselves just one win from yet another Ripken League title. Count now 2-1 on Mike Sweeney. That one popped up out of play, evening up the count at 2. Sweeney, a member of the Hofstra baseball program. A native of Belrose, New York. Going to be a rising sophomore for the Pride. The 2-2. That one grounded over to Nadeau at second. And he'll make the easy flip to Gonzalez for out number 1. So Logan Tribble will step up to the plate. Looking to catalyze what would be a nearly improbable comeback here in the top of the ninth. Tribble 1 for 2 tonight. Has reached base his last 2 at-bats, courtesy of a hit by pitch and a walk. First pitch running a little too high for ball 1. The 1-0. That one fouled off into the netting behind home plate. The crowd is thinned out here at Shirley Povich Field. But that means the ones in attendance are the real ones.
Or they just don't have an early bedtime.
Or perhaps both. That one off the end of the bat into center field. Diving is Williamson. This guy is unbelievable.
The machine continues to produce. He has been a vacuum out in center field. The diving efforts of Williamson record out number 2.
So that'll bring up Nathan Brewer representing the Senators' last breath. The first offering from Stevens, inside for a ball. Brewer 0 for 4 on the night. Has struck out 3 times. Very uncharacteristic of the talented Middle Tennessee State Blue Raider. The 1-0 is grounded foul. Riding along the Senators' dugout. The 1-1. That one swung on and missed. The bat goes flying into the bushes right next to the Davis family pavilion. Thankfully, no one was in the path of destruction. I don't think we've seen a bat from either the Big Train or anyone they've played here at Shirley Povich this season fly as far as that one.
That one's slipping right out of his hands. Thankfully, no one in the first base grandstand was injured or close to the bat.
Now, sometimes flying sticks are okay, as in the javelin throw. That one's organized, it's controlled. There's meant to be a giant flying pole, but not that time. Again, thankfully, no one injured, except one of the bushes outside of Davis Family Pavilion. So the count 1-2 on Nathan Brewer. Jonathan Stevens looking to shut the door on a dominant Game 1 victory here in the LCS Finals. Here it comes. Popped up. Nato's under it. He's got it. The Big Train secure a dominant Game 1 victory here in the LCS Finals by a score of 9-2. Now just one win away from their 11th Ripken League title and their 7th in the last 8 seasons. Now, Phoebe, this game, in my mind, was very emblematic of Bethesda's season as a whole. There were a lot of questions about whether they could return to what they have been for so many years. The Big Train were held scoreless through 5 innings tonight, but then they turn it on at just the right time, all 9 runs coming in the 6th inning or later, and they walk out of here with a 7-run victory. What did you like the most from the Big Train tonight?
I definitely agree with you. I think this is emblematic of a lot of games we've seen the Big Train play throughout the regular season, putting up some late inning magic. I think the biggest thing for the Big Train this season is they didn't have the dominant performance they may have wanted. They faced a lot of adversity, but their mindset has never changed throughout. I'm going to call back to Media Day when we got to speak with some of the players. We asked them what was their goal for this season with Big Train, and I think we got an emphatic win the championship. So they all want this win, and as Max Martzoff said when he joined us in the booth, they're hungry for this win. That mentality has not changed throughout the season, and it's alive and well here in the playoffs. They stuck through it. The bats eventually did come alive, and once they got hot, they stayed hot. They put up a dominant offensive performance in those later innings to secure the victory, and now they're just one win away from their 11th title.
And that's a great point you make. A lot of these players did not play in the spring or have not played much college baseball at all, so a main goal for a lot of the players in the Ripken League this season was just to play, or to just get some reps in collegiate level competition. But the return to glory is sometimes a nectar that is too sweet to allure. And the Big Train, as you said, Phoebe, now just one win away from that return to glory. I mean, sometimes this team leaves me speechless. This team has left us with heart rates that are a little higher than we would maybe prefer, but they have gotten it done, and they have gotten it done in dominant fashion so far. It didn't look like it early on, and especially into the middle innings, but the Big Train being started by an Emilio Gonzalez base-clearing double, catalyzing some late-inning magic. They come back and win 9-2, very emblematic, as I had said earlier, of that June 21st game where the Senators took a 4-0 lead into the 7th inning, only for the Big Train to drop 5 in the bottom half of the 7th, just like they did tonight. And just like that June 21st game, they emerged victorious. Now, the stakes are even higher. Phoebe, tomorrow might be our last ride, but even if it isn't, we get a Game 3 back here at Povich. Phoebe will be on the play-by-play tomorrow. I'll be on color. It should be a good one, again, back here in Rockville. The Senators will be the home team. They will bat second. If they are losing heading into the bottom of the 9th, they will get another chance to bat. So a quick reminder there. But tonight was a fun one. Definitely didn't look like it for the Big Train for a very long time, but again, they flipped the switch when it mattered the most. For our producers, Lindsey Morin, Jordan Parham, a guest appearance from the great Lexi Cullen, our executive producer and general manager, Harrison Myers. For my broadcast partner, Phoebe Winters, I'm Quentin Corpuel saying so long from Shirley Povich Field.